I woke up one morning and wrote 6 words in my journal that terrified me. I don't think I love my husband. But the scariest part? I wasn't having a breakdown. I wasn't even unhappy in any obvious way. I was 38 years old, standing in the frozen food aisle at Target, holding a bag of chicken nuggets my kids didn't even like. When it hit me, I felt like a ghost watching someone else live my life. And the scariest part wasn't how empty I felt. It was that I couldn't remember when I stopped choosing. What I didn't know yet was that noticing this would change everything. Chapter 1: The Anatomy of a Fine Life. My name is Lauren. I live in a beautiful, quiet cul-de-sac in suburban Ohio. If you drove past my house, you'd see a manicured lawn, a wreath on the front door that changes with every season, and a silver Honda CR-V in the driveway. We have a golden retriever named Buddy who barks at the mailman just like he's supposed to. I have 2 children, Maya and Sam. They are healthy, they do well in school, and they have soccer practice every Tuesday and Thursday. My husband, Derek, is a good man. He's a provider. He's reliable. He remembers birthdays and takes the trash out without being asked. I work part-time as an administrative assistant at a local dental office. I know the names of all the patients. I smile, I file insurance claims, and I come home to make dinner. Everything about my life is fine. And for a long time, I thought fine was the goal. I grew up believing that if nothing was burning down, you were winning. But there's a specific kind of pain that comes with a life that is fine. It's a quiet, suffocating kind of pain. Because when your life is fine, you aren't allowed to complain. You aren't allowed to feel empty. There's no crisis to point to. No disaster to justify your tears. No obvious reason to want more. So, you learn to silence the hunger. I did everything the way the manual said. I got married at 24 because it felt like the natural progression of a long relationship. I had kids at 28 and 30 because that's what everyone in our circle was doing. We moved to the suburb because the school district was rated a 9 out of 10. Every decision was a brick in a wall I was building around myself. None of it felt wrong at the time. It just didn't feel like it belonged to me. I was a passenger in a car I was supposedly driving. Chapter 2: The Silent Erosion. It didn't happen all at once. Losing yourself is rarely a sudden event. It's an erosion. It's like a beach losing an inch of sand every time the tide comes in. You don't notice it today or tomorrow, but 10 years later, the coastline is gone. I stopped choosing which restaurants we went to. If Derek wanted Italian, we had Italian. If the kids wanted tacos, we had tacos. I told myself I was being easygoing. In reality, I was disappearing. I stopped buying the clothes I actually liked, the vintage dresses and the bold colors I loved in college. I started buying mom clothes, practical, neutral, invisible. I became the woman who never expressed an opinion, not because I didn't have them, but because it was just easier to agree than to risk the slight discomfort of a disagreement. It was easier to be a mirror, reflecting what everyone else needed me to be. I remember one specific night, about a month before the Target incident. Derek and I were sitting on our beige sectional sofa. The house was quiet. The kids were finally asleep. He picked up the remote and asked, "Hey, what do you want to watch tonight?" I opened my mouth to speak, but nothing came out. I searched my brain for a preference, a genre, a title, anything. But there was nothing. It was like a dead signal on an old TV. "I don't care," I finally said, and I meant it. Truly. That's when the first seed of fear took root. It wasn't that I didn't want to watch anything. It was that I literally couldn't hear my own voice anymore. I had spent so long listening to what everyone else wanted that my own internal compass had stopped spinning. It was just stuck. That night, while Derek fell asleep to a documentary about World War II, I stayed awake. The blue light of my phone illuminated my face as I searched. Why don't I know what I want anymore? I spent hours scrolling through articles about decision fatigue, the invisible load of motherhood, and people-pleasing. But then, I found a term that made my heart skip a beat. Self-erosive identity. The articles described a woman who had performed her roles so perfectly, wife, mother, employee, that the person behind the roles had simply ceased to exist. I wasn't ready for what happened next. Chapter 3. The Journal and the Truth. The journal was a small, leather-bound book I'd bought on a whim years ago. It had been sitting in my nightstand, buried under old receipts and charging cables. The morning after my Target epiphany, I waited for the house to empty. I waited for the sound of Derek's car pulling out of the driveway and the yellow school bus taking the kids away. I sat at the kitchen table with a cup of coffee that I realized I didn't even like. I only drank it because Derek bought that specific blend in bulk. I opened the journal. At first, the pages remained blank. My hand felt heavy. Then, I wrote, "I don't know who I am." It felt like a confession. I started writing about my childhood dreams of being an artist, of traveling to Italy, of teaching literature. I wrote about how much I missed the version of Lauren who used to laugh until her stomach hurt, the version who wasn't afraid to say no. I realized I missed having real friends, not just soccer moms I made small talk with, but people who knew my soul. I missed feeling seen. The more I wrote, the faster the pen moved. It was like a dam had broken. And then, without even thinking, I wrote that terrifying sentence about my marriage. "I don't think I love my husband anymore." I stared at the words until they blurred. Did I really mean that? Or did I just not love the version of myself that existed within this marriage? I realized that Derek didn't love me either. He loved the service I provided. He loved the stability I gave him. He loved the role of Lauren. If I stopped being that role, would he even recognize me? I heard the mailman drop letters through the slot. The spell was broken. I slammed the notebook shut, hid it deep in a kitchen drawer, and started making a grocery list. I acted like nothing had happened. But once you tell yourself the truth in your own handwriting, you can't unknow it. The truth is a bell you can't unring. Chapter 4. The Oxygen of Honesty. I didn't pack a bag and leave that day. Life isn't a movie. I had bills. I had children. I had a life built on a foundation of expectations. But I decided to perform a series of micro acts of rebellion. The first one was small. On a Saturday afternoon, instead of going to the kids' Q playdate where I'd have to pretend to enjoy lukewarm mimosas with women I barely knew, I told Derek I was going out. "Where?" he asked, looking up from his laptop. "Just out," I said. My heart was pounding. I went to a small, slightly dusty coffee shop across town, the kind of place Derek would call too hipster. I ordered a large, overpriced chai latte with extra spice. I sat by the window and I didn't look at my phone once. I just sat with Lauren for 60 minutes. It was incredibly uncomfortable. My brain kept screaming at me that I should be folding laundry or checking emails. But as the minutes passed, the discomfort started to fade. It felt like oxygen. I started saying no. When my sister asked me to host Thanksgiving again, even though I did it every year and ended up exhausted, I said, "I'm not able to do it this year, but I'm happy to bring a dish to your house." The silence on the other end of the phone was deafening. She was confused. My family was confused. Before we go any further into how this changed my marriage, I want to ask you something. Have you ever felt like a ghost in your own life? Have you ever felt like you were just playing a part in a play you didn't write? Please, just type yes in the comments if you've ever felt invisible. We need to know we aren't alone in this. Back home, the tension was rising. Derek felt the shift. He didn't like it. He liked the old Lauren, the one who was predictable and easy. One evening, while we were cleaning up after dinner, he stopped and looked at me. You've been distant, Lauren. Cold. What's going on with you? In the past, I would have apologized. I would have made an excuse about being tired or stressed at work. I would have smoothed things over to keep the peace. But the woman who wrote in that journal wouldn't let me lie anymore. Maybe I am distant, Derek, I said, looking him straight in the eye. Maybe I'm just finally waking up. The look of pure confusion on his face was the most painful thing I had ever seen. Because in that moment, I realized he truly had no idea who I was. And it wasn't just his fault. I had hidden myself so well that even I couldn't find me. Chapter 5. The Price of the Truth. We tried. We really did. We went to marriage counseling for 6 months. We sat on that leather sofa in the therapist's office, and I tried to explain the Target epiphany. I tried to explain the frozen food ghost. But Derek kept talking about the plan. He talked about our retirement accounts, the equity in our home, and the family image. The turning point happened in our 12th session. The therapist asked Derek a simple question. Derek, tell me 3 things that Lauren loves. Not things she does for the family, but things she loves for herself. Derek sat there for a long time. He looked at the ceiling. He looked at his shoes. She likes keeping a clean house, he whispered. She likes that silver car. I felt a coldness wash over me. He didn't know I loved Emily Dickinson's poetry. He didn't know I dreamt of painting landscapes. He didn't know I hated the color beige. He didn't know me. He only knew the role I played. And then the therapist turned to me. Lauren, what do you want? For the first time in 15 years, I didn't look at Derek for permission. I didn't think about the kids or the mortgage. I want to be a person again, I said. I want a life that feels like it belongs to me. The divorce wasn't an explosion. It was a slow, agonizing dismantling. There were lawyers. There were tears from the children. There were awkward conversations with neighbors. It was the hardest thing I've ever done. There were nights I sat in my new, tiny apartment, surrounded by boxes, wondering if I had made a massive mistake. I had traded a perfect life for a difficult one. I had traded security for uncertainty. But then, I would wake up in the morning, and the first thought in my head would be, what do I want for breakfast? And I would answer myself, and I would do it. I went back to school to get my teaching certification. I started painting again. Not well, but with passion. I reconnected with a friend from college who told me, there you are. I've been waiting for you to come back. Chapter 6. The Meaning of Real Freedom. People think freedom is about doing whatever you want, whenever you want. They think it's about chaos or abandoning your responsibilities. But I've learned that real freedom is much quieter than that. Freedom is waking up and knowing that the life you are leading is an honest one. It's knowing that when you say yes, you mean it, and when you say no, you are protecting your soul. I still have hard days. I still worry about my kids and the impact of the divorce. I still have moments of deep loneliness. But I no longer feel invisible. When I look in the mirror, I don't see a ghost anymore. I see Lauren. She's older, she has a few more wrinkles, and her life isn't as neat as it used to be. But she's finally home. Conclusion. So, I want to leave you with this. Are you living your life, or are you living someone else's idea of it? When was the last time you made a choice that was truly yours? Not out of guilt, not out of fear, and not out of obligation to a role you never asked to play. You don't have to blow up your life today. You don't have to leave your marriage or quit your job tomorrow. But you do have to start paying attention. You have to listen to that small, quiet voice inside you that's been screaming to be heard. Because no one, no husband, no boss, no parent, is going to come and give you permission to be yourself. That's a gift only you can give. If this story resonated with you, if you felt that chill of recognition, please subscribe to Good Stories today. We share these stories because we believe that sometimes hearing someone else's truth is the only thing that can wake us up to our own. Don't wait until you're standing in a grocery store aisle realizing you've disappeared. Start choosing yourself. Today, thank you for being here.